acting like you're rich because you're freaking broke. You're broke people that make 300 grand.
Check. No matter how much money I made, I always found a way to be broke. I was not living check to check. I was living check to Monday.
I saw a really interesting statistic on this, and it was reported that 60% of high-income earners, so people making over $100,000 a year, are living paycheck to paycheck.
So evidently you can make $300,000 and just still be broke. It's just like living in Never Never Land, but instead of never growing up, we're just never, ever going to be rich. Which is really, really sad, but really, really true. So let's dive in. We're going to get very, very deep. But first, mood lighting. Let's go.
I am so sick of people talking about the economy and how people need to just stop buying coffee or we can afford kids to have them.
No Starbucks.
It's tough out here for everyone. I'm a controls engineer. I have a good job. I've been doing this for a minute. You can Google a controls engineer salary.
I did Google the salary. I couldn't help it. From my research, it was 75 to 100. Anton, who's reacting to this video, and if you haven't heard of him, I'm going to link him down below. He's a great content creator. Really, 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 really excellent stuff. I found that they made about 75 to 150,000, depending on the market in the state, which is a ton, way more than the median. So, if we're talking $150,000 a year, making almost 3 times the median and still broke, that's concerning.
Very comfortably as a single man with 3 kids. I should have no financial struggles. I should be able to afford a home. I should be able to afford a car, brand new car. And all of this while taking trips and having vacations.
100% disagree. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't entitle you to anything. It doesn't. Just because I make good money and I work a lot of hours doesn't entitle me to a nice home. It doesn't entitle me to a nice car. You're entitled to 3 things in America: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you don't know where those things come from, you need to Google it because you're missing the basic principles of being an American citizen right there. So I know it's going to be a very popular opinion. I know everybody wants their nice stuff because they work hard. But if you can't afford the stuff that you want, even though you're working hard, what that means, because we live in a capitalist society, is that you do not bring the value into the market that equates to that level of income. And no one wants to address that. They want to go into debt. They want to get car payments. They want to get all this crap because they don't want to address the basic foundational issue, which is that your skills are not valuable enough. I'm sorry. I learned that the hard way myself. That's why I taught myself a lot of extra things on top of working, busted my behind every single day just to put stuff like this together in YouTube. Videography, audio engineering, all this crap. Taught it to myself because I wanted to increase the value to the market. Okay, so just because you work hard doesn't mean that you get anything. You have to bring value to the market.
And I live in a trailer. I drive a fairly new car, yes. But I have to budget. Like I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Should budget anyway, though.
I cannot get ahead. I do not buy expensive clothes. I do not take expensive trips. I do not put stuff on credit card. I'm not there yet. But for what I make, I should live very comfortably, and I don't presently. I thought at one time if I made as much as I make now, I would be rich and have no problems. And that's probably true 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But over the past 5 years, I have seen my standard of living substantially drop.
All right, I'm not going to talk over Anton's comment again. If you want to listen to what he's saying, I encourage you to watch his content and support him. But on the whole, I disagree with what he's saying. There are some points that I do agree with. It has gotten substantially harder to make it. But again, I don't know what his standard of living is. I don't know how well he's living. I don't know what he's spending his money on. I don't know why he has 3 kids alone and the mother's not there. Because that would be a huge help for them if they could have both incomes in, assuming the kids are old enough to where the mother can work. There's a lot of factors that I just simply don't know in this case. But what I do know is that if he's unsatisfied, then he can A, change jobs, he can try and provide value to the market, and I get it. If you're putting in 70 hours a week and you're just not getting ahead, it can feel like life's never going to go anywhere. But this is America. We're not slaves. We can change what we do. We can change jobs. We can take on another job. We can do whatever we need to do to make it And again, part of that's feeling of fulfillment, right? A lot of people don't do what they like to do. And so instead of learning what they like to do, investing in it, they just complain and get into debt. Okay? If you're doing what you love, like I do, okay, you can work 100 hours a week and it brings joy to your life. It's not always easy, but you never feel like you want to beat your head against a wall.
And I saw a really interesting statistic on this, and it was reported that 60% of high-income earners, so people making over $100,000 a year, are living paycheck to paycheck due to lifestyle.
I would 100% believe it because I see it with my own friends. I've got quite a few friends that are thankful for their incomes, and they make over 100 grand, and they should be thankful. They've worked hard, and I'm so proud of them. But the lifestyle inflation is a real thing, right? Every time we make a salary bump, increase, whatever it is, we get money, we want to inflate our lifestyle. And what that means is we want a nicer house, we want a nicer car. And I've kept my lifestyle pretty consistent. I've been in the same house for about 4 years now. My rent's barely moved, but my income has increased. So my overhead has also actually decreased over that time. So my margin's much higher. I feel more comfortable. It's such a great place to be because I'm not falling into that trap of every time I get more money, I have to spend it. It's a terrible trap to get in, and it's created a real negative in society.
Right, and I want you to quit acting like you're rich because you're freaking broke.
I love
you're
it.
broke
Preach.
people that make
Preach,
300
Dave.
grand.
That's why we sold the other car,
Yeah.
and I started up a business.
The business is not. You don't have an income problem. You have a spending problem. You make $300,000 a year.
That's fair. Yeah, I think there's like an
That's
issue with
crazy.
like feeling so burnt out that we end up needing like treat yourself, vacation.
What do you burn out from?
I drive 140 miles round trip to work,
Oh,
and we have
When?
pretty taxing jobs. And,
Oh, you gotta
we
work?
didn't get any help
Oh.
from parents. We
Okay.
didn't
No
have a
help?
Wedding.
Yeah, I don't think I can help.
yeah. Notice how he's done too. I'm with Dave on this. This is absolute garbage. So let's break this down. No help from parents. Okay, my dad literally threatened to bury me and my mom. So she ran away. My mom was bipolar. So help from parents, didn't really get any. I was raised by my grandmother, and she is an angel. God bless her soul. If you're watching, Grandma, I love you. But yeah, that's not an excuse to go into debt. Sorry, a lot of us have parents that were not great. So if that's you too, let me know in the comments with give me a sunshine emoji, and I will heart it because I feel for you. As for work travel, last week, actually no, Monday I had to go to Pensacola from Jacksonville, Florida, which is a 5-hour drive. I flew. Flight got delayed on the way home, so I drove. Okay, I traveled for 11 hours. Okay, and then worked more later. Where? Nobody cares. And this is the thing that people don't understand. Just because you work hard, again, going back to the last one, doesn't entitle you to anything. And think about this. You're working so hard. Love yourself enough to not put yourself behind after you put in so much effort. Right? Love yourself enough not to go into debt over vacation just because you work 80 hours a week. And then have to get back from vacation and pay twice what the vacation was for because you couldn't afford it in the first place.
Why are we the first generation to make more money than our parents, but everybody still feels broke? Like, is this not alarming anybody?
It's very alarming.
Literally, people are making so much money, but everybody still feels broke. There's actually some millionaires who actually are living check to check more than you actually think. And the reason why this is happening is because the government just keeps printing more money. Like, the more money that flows into the ecosystem, the more expensive things become, and nobody's wages is actually catching up with that either. $1,000 today is not the same $1,000 back in 2020. I'll tell you that much. $10,000 today is not the same $10,000 as it used to be back in 2020 either. $100,000 used to be a lot of money, right? But people who are earning $100,000 a year are also struggling. It's going to get harder if you don't wake up and if you don't understand how money works and assets and financial literacy, you will struggle. So hear me out.
And I'm pretty much 100% rocking with what she's saying. You were definitely going to struggle if you're not literate. And they don't teach it in school. You've got to learn it yourself. And you've got to take the time to read some books. Whatever those are. You want to read books about the stock market and learn about it? Learn about it. You want to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I would highly recommend? Go read it. Learn. Educate yourself. It's important. Because the money printer is going to keep on going until the money is worthless. I got news for you. It's going to happen until we don't use a dollar anymore. No one's stopping it. It It brings value to assets, so that's why wealthy people don't mind it. But it hurts everybody else. So if you're waiting for that to go away, it's just not going to happen.
Check. No matter how much money I made, I always found a way to be broke. I was not living check to check. I was living check to Monday.
Check to
check
Monday.
check is when you get
That's
paid on
awesome.
Friday, and by the next payday you broke. But
Yeah.
check to Monday is a whole nother game. You get paid on Friday, kick it on the weekend, and by Monday you're broke.
Ooh, that hurts me actually personally, because I don't know about you, but when I was 21, 20, that was me 100%. 100%. And I would love to hear how many of you were like that, so I can feel a little bit better about my life. Just a tiny bit. But we've all been a victim of that, I think. And as you can see in the comment here, I was making $80,000 to $90,000 a month, not a year. So she found a way to be broke making $90,000 a month, which is just absolutely wild. So that's not a spending problem. It is I'm sorry, it's not a money problem. It's a spending problem for sure.
$90,000 a month, not a year. It did not matter. So the number one thing that I have to say to people is more money doesn't solve a money problem. If it did, millionaires wouldn't go bankrupt. There's only one way for us to start to, get on this path to being financially free. And it's to spend less money.
Yes.
We come from a history of having. And so when we get the opportunity to have it, it's not that we are not intelligent. It's not that we aren't capable. African Americans and people of color, we are presidents. We go to the moon. We are astronauts. We are academically inclined. But when it comes to wealth, we are last. And so I tell everybody to live by the 10, 10, 30, 50. The first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save. Right now in a pandemic, we've had a great opportunity. As a matter of fact, consumer spending, our consumer saving is up 10% from 5% up to 15%. The next 30% is cash, and cash helps you avoid a spending addiction, which is what you have when you go to the grocery store for toothpaste and walk out with $179.47 worth of stuff you don't need.
You know that's happened to her.
It was on sale, and it wasn't on sale for you.
That's funny.
50%.
For the sake of time, let's start to break this down, actually. Come back full circle. So let's break down what you said. Tithe. For those of you that aren't aware, that's a biblical principle. Typically, it's 10%, and it's supposed to come from the heart. We give because we want to give, and we trust God that He's going to take care of our finances. And if you don't believe in that, if you're not a Christian, that's completely fine. Because there's many ways that you can tithe and not be a Christian. Giving your time, giving your money to people that are less fortunate, however you want to do it, it's an important principle because it teaches us that life is not about us. Because it's not. Life is about people. We're together. We're here on earth to work together. And we work much better together than we do alone. So tithing is an important principle that comes from the heart. Nothing else. So 10% of investments, that's self-explanatory. We've talked about that before. I don't need to deep dive into that, whatever those investments are. 30% cash. You mentioned spending cash because it actually makes it easier for you to manage your money. And that's true if you take cash. If you actually get a hold of cash instead of using your card, it's much harder to spend it because you want to let it go. And that's why it's so easy to spend money on credit cards. Victim of that myself. I don't typically use just cash, but if I did, I'd probably spend a little less. So I could benefit from that. But if you follow those principles, right, and you take 10% of your money, you tithe it, and you take 20% of your, or you take another 10% of your money, and you invest it, that's 20% of your income, and let's say it takes 35%, 40% of your income just to live, just to rent and pay utilities and keep the lights on. And then you're left with literally 30% of your money for food and fun. And if you're making the median salary, 55, 60 grand a year, somewhere around there, that's not much. It's not. And so it can feel that way. And again, that goes back to what I said. You've got to increase your value to the market. If you're one of those lucky ones that got a good degree and can make 100 grand out the gate as a 21-year-old with limited debt, then you're off to a good start. And you don't have as much to be concerned about. And you can build a good foundation. But if you're not making 100 grand and you're in debt and you're also trying to live by these principles, it's going to feel like you're suffocating. But I'm here to give you hope. It's going to be okay. Because I've been in that exact same boat. Now I'm not in it. How? It took time, longer than you're willing to wait. That's how long it's going to take. Longer than you want. But it's going to happen. Everybody wants it right now, and it's not going to happen right now. All right, I'm 32 years old. I've still got so much life left in me. And even if I started over at the same situation I was at 25, I would still have plenty of time. So if you're 40 and you're wondering how the hell you're going to make it through the next decade, I'm here to tell you that you got it. You get plenty of time. There's a future for you. And we just need to remind ourselves of that, I think, at the end of the day. Because nobody wants to wait.